So these rituals is the lodges talking to each other. They using the artist as the puppet.
Right.
And because his mentality make him write his art in such a unique form, then they manipulate him by giving him the halftime show.
Right.
So now they got his energy, and it's tied to the energy everybody watching and everybody that's gonna try to figure out in the aftermath. Only thing I cared about is Uncle Sam left stage left. Extra
Yeah.
stage left. He ain't coming back.
Yeah. And they had Samuel Jackson, who was the same dude that played the dude in Django Unchained when he came to the house. He said, "How you got that, in on a nag or whatever." So
that wasn't no accident.
Go ahead.
The same way I've been telling you they were sweetheart swindling the big mamas in order to marry into the family, and then they was telling us it was war going on. So if we leave, somebody might capture us and put us in slavery because of the war. This where your slave narrative was born at.
Right.
Just the labor pains of it. So when you see the character in Django, Samuel L. Jackson, he's the one who hired the pale face to pretend to be the boss of the plantation,
Right.
Mr. Jones' plantation.
Yeah.
And it was his job to try to keep the family that was out in the field from coming up to see what's going on in Big Mama house, because this ain't how she left.
Yeah, you had ran it down to me before about how Samuel Jackson really was the real owner, and they had hired him as a front man to make it like, they ain't the one doing it, this guy doing it, Another part that was interesting about that halftime, if one of the guys, I don't know if he was part of the show or not, but he was dressed like the people that was the dancers. He held up a Sudanese flag, if I'm not mistaken. And then the cops chased him off the field and tackled him. So I wonder, you see any connections with Sudan flag? And it could be a connection
in Gaza. He was talking about the struggle in Gaza.
Okay.
He was talking about the Palestinian plight in Gaza.
Okay.
All I can tell you, if they tell the Palestinians to clear Gaza out, when they come back, it's going to be rubble. So let Donald J. Trump tell them to go on and leave. If Donald Trump tell the Palestinians to leave, when they get enough of them out of there where they can minimize the collateral damage, they leveling that bitch.
Okay. Hey, this is my next question I got for you. Now, with the black hand, because we got a lot of newcomers, everybody's starting to become, this black hand thing is really out there now. Like, if people starting to know. Now, this is my question with the secret societies and the black hands. Now, do the black hands have their, I heard of this group called the Pilgrim Group, and I figured out they was connected to the Black Hand, the Pilgrim Society, and the Jason Society, all these different.
Okay, so those what you hearing about when you hear about the Pilgrim Society?
Yeah.
This was creating a fraternal brotherhood, which under common law is a tribe.
Okay.
But under admiralty law, it's a 501c3 something else fraternal order brotherhood. Right? And the purpose is to be able to function as a tribe while you live intermingle with other people. And your tribe was supposed to be in your organization. They begin to use some of the regalias when you talk about the Black Hand from the brotherhoods that came over here already established. When you look at your Confederate soldiers and your Union soldiers and you're looking at their uniforms, those are not tribal war dress. Neither the North nor the South. When you see us wearing skins of animals, right? That's war dress. when you see us dressing in solid colors, that's a war dress. Because in peacetime, we like colorful shit, all different types of patches, and you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Apache, Fort Apache, the Bronx, rocking in this mofo off of Wu-Tang Clan in the 36 chambers.
Mm-hmm.
Elevate your mind, free your soul, like In Vogue. Man, cold flipping, knocking and clapping back to the knockback on the zigzag flip to sew this bitch up.
So
What you talking about, Elder?
hey, so last year we know that we did this. There was a Super Bowl ritual, and the Chiefs beat the 49ers. Even though the 49ers was connected to the gold rush, where they, pretty much genocide people in California. But now we go to the Eagles versus the Chiefs, and the Eagles get beat down pretty much. I saw some lady in the crowd with a voodoo doll of Patrick Mahomes.
She was stabbing the shit out of it,
Yeah,
was she?
you saw that. I was like, "What the heck? People going crazy, man. This is too far now." Hey, so what is significant about that in alchemy? Dealing that we know that all this is kind of like some kind of ritualistic thing. What is the dealing with the Eagles, which some people say represents United States courts, or it could represent the original people?
The eagle don't represent the corporation.
I was gonna say that. Go ahead.
The eagle represent the republic, not the corporation. The corporation never recognized what we call zoo type, like national bird. That was the republic. The difference in the corporation and the republic is the corporation been pretending to be the government, but they not. The republic was supposed to be the interim government over the 13 original colonies that was given permission. Everybody that wasn't part of those 13 colonies didn't have a representative on the tribal councils across the land. But if they was tied to one of those 13 colonies, they know that the Queen Mother gave them passage or refuge from the tyranny of Europe. So the 13 colonies represents the 13 subgroups of people that came over here. All of them were still being controlled from the Crown of England. So the corporation is administering salvage rights of the Crown, right? As the corporation that administers salvage rights of the Crown, all of the agents of the corporation is supposed to be capturing the black folks, the dead folks, lost at sea, vessels at large, nationals with a nationality, to tie them back to a salvage right so they can know where your claim rests in dry dock, right? If you a national, when you in dry dock, they know what entity represents you in dry dock. You no longer under the law of the water. The dry dock today is called the prison system. All of the chiefs being held in reprisal for the debt of the corporation under the pretense in the operational manuals of COINTELPRO Rex 87 or Rex 84, the Global 2000 agenda. They told us what they was doing, and it was up to us to figure our way out. So when they telling us what they doing, because they have to. They don't have to tell us directly. They can code it. We have to figure out they code. That means that we have to think above the level of the ones oppressing you. That means you have to assume the identity of your God self and your God mind. We all gods, children of the Most High and the Great Mother. And you can't escape that. All of the women on earth have one common denominator: mitochondria. All the women on the earth can use the mitochondrial psychic network. And it's most powerful when they have children and take on the role of mother with zeal and joy for being a mother. Because now she's finna step into her full matriarchal power. This is all enacted in all of the stuff we seeing in arts, entertainment, sports, and political satire. Right? They mixing up rules to the game. They never told you what they was, but if you become what's called cultured, right? Once you become cultured, now you can access the culture. You're supposed to read the culture. The culture is going to tell you something that's going to defy what your historians is telling you, your politicians is telling you, your reverends, your imams, your kohens, your rabbis, all of them. Your culture is going to give you a different expression because what's in the DNA cannot be concealed. It's going to express itself, and that is the salt of the earth, giving earth the culture. And the culture right now is a hip hop paradigm. That's a bunny hop. Unless you down under, then that's a roo, a kangaroo. Unless it's a,
Go ahead. I had another question.
unless it's a wallaby. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Man, this is the next question because you told me to go study the Learn Early Design. I got that book. I studied that book, even did an analysis on it. And you told me to go get the Albert Pike's letter. I did an analysis on it. And so this brings my next question. Now, in connection with the Albert Pike's letter and these secret society Masons, the Masons specifically, and their plans in conjunction with the Learn Elders of Zion, how do the black brothers, because there's a lot of black, these so-called black, we know how they use that term, right? But the Nubian brothers who say they Prince Halls, right? They are part of the Prince Halls. You come in contact with these brothers, they don't know nothing about none of this. Like how's that happening? How do some of these Nubian, are they with the agenda? Are the Prince Halls with the same agenda as Albert Pike them? And is it all connected? Go ahead.
So you got to go back to the foundation of the Prince Hall Lodge and the purpose that Prince Hall himself wrote and Absalom Jones wrote. Prince Hall wrote that he seen the masters of the lodge wielding the power that was also common in our own culture. He's talking about what we call today voodoo. They used our rituals in secret. So Prince Hall wanted to give it back using the method of the oppressor. And Absalom Jones was his prime supporter in the establishment of the lodge, similarly situated, similar ideologies, joining together in order to disseminate the information in the lodge structure to the chiefs on the land. You got to remember the original purpose and the creation of Masonry. It was to train a prince on how to become the king, right? And normally the king that's pretender to the throne, rightful heir, is taught by the mother. This is where you get my son.
Right, mother and son.
Right, because she's the one who's going to give him his conscience so he'll deal fairly with the people. She's the one who's going to teach him the ways of the wise, right? Which is how to read your psychic abilities without people using it against you, right? She's molding and fashioning his character as mama's son, right? And 9 out of 10 in big families, you have the children is split. You got daddy's boys, daddy's girls, you got mama's girls and mama's boys. Normally, the mama's boys and girls wear the red and the black. The daddy's boys and girls wear the blue. And this is what the Prince Hall Masons are, Blue Lodge, but they not the Masons with the contracts. You gotta remember. So you got your actual Masonic Lodge, which is not in a building. It's at the feet of the mother, where the true masters is being fashioned.
Crack them heads.
But then you have what's called your contracted agencies. These are the ones that have the meeting halls. They are the free and accepted Mason, as long as they don't divulge the great Masonic secret. The great Masonic secret is who assaulted Hiram Abiff.
Right, go ahead.
Right? That's the two-ball cane flip.
The Jacobites. That's who hit them.
So once the search for your two-ball cane is your search for the great men in your life that molded you into being the best version of yourself as a man. When you wise enough to capture your two-ball cane, you ready to go into your initiation rites to be moved off the playing board from a prince status, and now you got to go change clothes and dress up to be the king. It's good to be the king.
Yeah, hey, look, right? You talking square business, I'm telling you.
Right? So remember, all of this is the reenactment of the Osirian resurrection, which is also known as the Holy Drama. Our day-to-day life is the scenes that we see in the greater scheme of the Holy Drama as it plays out to close and open age to age, yuga to yuga. We have artificially induced yugas created by magic. This is why we locked in the time loop. We locked in the time loop because it's conjure magic that gave us some stuff called time. And this also came with the moon, because the moon is how they using to regulate time. But we think they using the solar disk because they map days in solar hours. But they keeping the time by the lunar clock, the silver key. The gold key is the astrology key, is the sun key. Right? But we want to be able to access the earth key, the end key. Right? The father of the earthborn, the master father, in order for the king to rise to his position as the head of the table. Reenacted in professional wrestling, reenacted in Hollywood animations, reenacted in their great storytelling on Broadway, in the music of everybody that's playing music. Everybody think they doing their own thing, but when you step back and look at it from the God view, it's just a great orchestra at play.
Now this is my next question, because that brain, because you just said Inky. Now Inky's son Tahuti, right? Now, as I study all the secret societies, study all the people that say, "Oh, I started this order," or "We started this order," and then if you look at them, they all got studied Tahuti. They say, "Oh, wait, his name Tahuti's Termes." Nigga, the same nigga, right? Termes, say Tahuti, right? So, but where did they go dark at? Because it seemed like Tahuti didn't really deal in the dark, even though he probably he had to know something about the dark.
When they tell you about wizards learning the ways of the wise, sages learning the ways of the wise, you can't be wise if you can't be equally functional in the dark and the light.
Go ahead, break it down.
Right? In order to be a master magician, you got to master both the benevolent conjure and the malevolent conjure. And the only reason why shamans do bad magic is to offset all the good magic they did. And they don't really want to do the bad magic, but they know that sooner or later, somebody not gonna take no for an answer, and that's out to balance that energy out from doing all the good magic. But the frauds, all they want to focus on is the bad magic and abuse the power. And now they gonna get the karma, what karma gonna bring to them, because they was in it for selfish greed.
That's the next question I got for you. Now, because we get talking about secret societies, but let's deal with alchemy, because you one of them high power alchemists, especially with decode. Now, let me ask you this: so when you said they doing bad magic, does that have repercussions? Is that a resonance frequency coming back off of that? Is it come back from that? Can you just go out and cast a bad spell on somebody and then how does that work? The energy flip on that.
Look, it's like everything you do to somebody from the wrong place in your heart, it's like a rubber band of energy is attached to it. Sooner or later, when they forgive you, it's gonna snap back, and guess who's gonna own that bullshit? You can't keep doing wrong and never change, because now you stuck to the left. Then the angel of the righteous gonna have to come through and smite thine ass with this sword, right? So there's a time for it. The dark arts, as it's called in some places, the black root science, the law of the nine, or the science of the nine ether, right? All of these things is pieces to a greater puzzle of unwrapping the Masonic secret of who struck Hiram, right? In this case, it was the three conjurers that had us in the stupor. It's the Kingu spell given to us in ancient Sumer. It's the Amen spell or Amun spell given to us out of the 18th dynasty in the priest wars in Egypt, right? And then you have your Civil War revolutionary conjure. That was the blood sacrifice in the Crispus Attucus. And this was brought to us by John Dee informing the Queen of England on how to put us in that stupor. Just give us all amnesia. And then they use it and justify it as the great experiment, nature versus nurture. If we look alike, we should act alike, but we don't. Our principles and value at the core of who we are is not the same. We believe in the agenda of putting yourself in optimal position so you can help the most people. They believe in put yourself in the optimum position to take the most shit from the most people. That's not the same character typing. They sell their children, their mama, their siblings. They have no loyalty in their heart for the ones that they supposed to love, care for, and protect. But we will give you the full-fledged business about our mamas and our daughters and our sisters and our brothers and our nieces and our nephews and our cousins and our homeboys. They ain't like that. They'll set it up, but when the shit hit the fan, they ain't nowhere to be found. And we keep falling for it. Our children still falling for it in the street right now. The arrogance of the one that just bought the AK-47 that make him feel invincible, not realizing that it's another guy down the street that just bought a SKS that make him feel invincible. And lo and behold, thus the two must meet. Right?
Right.
We got something to prove, but we don't realize that we fighting the war that our enemy gave us to fight, so we wouldn't fight him.
Man, that's cold. Hey, that brings my next question, Rob. So you've probably been watching the news lately. I think this in Cleveland. The KKK, white supremacy, is now invading their neighborhoods with flags and signs, and the cops are protecting these guys. And the Nubian brothers are, getting aggressive towards these guys. Do you think this is another part of their secret society you know, George, what's that dude named Sorrows, Black Lives? Do you think it's one of those games trying to start this race war or whatever? You heard anything about that? About that Cleveland thing with the guys
You
out there?
gotta first remember that the most powerful tool of divide and conquer ever been hatched on Earth is called racism. It's the coldest, most effective tool of divide and conquer ever devised in the minds of men. Now, that being said, when you see at a time like this, where we telling people what's going on, and we already told them that they was going to try to create this spectacle of this race war. Charles Manson told us in the 60s, Joseph Sinku told us in the 70s they was hired to start a race war. If we some damn fools and fall for it, let them fools march by themselves. Don't go out there and protest them, because you actually lending energy to support their claims. But if they was the only ones out there, who the fuck give a shit? Everybody got a right to worship under their own vine and fig tree. But I'm gonna tell you this: if all of them don't got blind hair and blue eyes, them niggas passing too. Talking about they white supremacists.
That's a fact. That's a fact. They all had masks on from what I seen. They was in black and red. I don't know if they were KKK white. They were white supremacists, but I don't know.
They was Nazis.
Huh?
They were supposed to be Nazis.
Oh, Nazis. Okay, Nazis. Then, you know, with Elon Musk doing the thing, you know, it's like it's bad timing. So it seemed like
No,
a
it's
rig.
not.
It's like a rig. It's perfect timing, like for the rig, you know. For the
Yeah,
rig.
it's the ways
Trayvon Martin, you know.
it's the ways of a saboteur.
Mm-hmm.
If they see us getting our shit back, right, and they realize that when we get in power, we gonna start, all of the remaining dirty players is gonna be held to the fire.
Right.
Quite literally. I want to do a guillotine concerto where I pull one lever and that must go on for 15 minutes. Chop, 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 chop. Get rid of all of them.
Yeah.
When they come back, they're gonna act like they got some sense. Them the traitors. Them the traitors. Loyalty enforces itself.
Yeah.
Loyalty enforces itself. So when you catch somebody that then betrayed you and been disloyal and deceitful and trying to usher in your downfall, you within your rights to step on that motherfucking rat right where you seen crawling under your bed. You justified.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Then I keep telling everybody, it's about to come a time real soon that a whole bunch of good people with violent tendencies gonna be required to do some real bad stuff to some evil people with some rotten tendencies to abuse and misuse everybody else. It's gonna happen.
Makes sense though.
But I tell you what, when everything's said and done, the giving the women back to earth is the best thing they can do.
Right. Right.
Not just because I'm beholden to the women, because I love women, but because under the matriarchal order, you don't have broken families, broken households.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The head of the family, if the woman got a divorce, he got to take care of her. She ain't supposed to get no fucking alimony. She's supposed to go back to the head of the household. But when the family broke up, you don't have no head of household that's your tribal leader. And if you try to re-establish it, they label you as a criminal enterprise, change the name from tribe to gang, as if a gang don't mean a tribe, to accuse you of being something called a criminal. They use your culture to oppress you with it. Practice your culture, tribe up, we coming for you. It's war. All our warfare, eye for eye.
2 for 2. And that brings my next question. Now I notice when I go and study these guys, and I've been studying them all week, and I've been studying them for a long time, but this week I'm really focused on secret societies. I noticed that these guys got a certain amount of rules that they follow. Like it's certain rules that they follow that they don't break. Like if you don't got no deal with them, they really say the stuff that you be saying. People saying that, man, all the stuff Rod saying about the secret society, all that stuff, they should have been came after him by now. But they got certain rules amongst them to where, Rod don't got no deal with us. He never made an oath with us. So technically, he's just like one of those freak of natures that just can say we can't really mess with him technically because he don't got no deal with us. That type of thing. So what is your take on them following these certain types of rules and got they real strict on their rules and the guidelines that they
We
follow?
say code of conduct. If you can't don't have the self discipline to follow a code of conduct, you expendable. You the crash out dummy. You the one they finna send to pull the dummy move. They gonna send you to drive down Bourbon Street shooting out the window like a damn fool. Because you can't follow the code. They gonna make you blow yourself up in your truck in front of a Trump Plaza in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you won't do they bid. You won't honor their code. They was knocking for the Manchurian candidate, and he told them no. He didn't want to do nothing to Ali Carter. Leave that girl alone. She done been through enough. Y'all just mad because she exposing y'all underground network of pedophilia. Leave her alone. Y'all want to see something bad happen, do something to her.
Right. And that brings me to my next question. Now, it was this dude named William Bryant and Bob Hope. You ever heard of Bob Hope?
Yeah.
All right, so I come to find out when I'm studying these files, because a lot of this stuff got opened up this year. It's come to find out these guys were hypnosis for the CIA, and that a lot of the people in Hollywood, hypnosis. Bob, and it's another dude named William Bryan Jr. You ever heard of that dude? Let me see.
That sounds familiar, but I probably read about him somewhere.
He the one that hypnosed the guy to take out Robert Kennedy.
Because
and look, he the one that actually directed the Manchurian candidate. Yeah, this nigga, why? When I was going through the paper files, I almost fell out the chair. I say, man, look, this right here, I almost fell out the chair.
Out of the names you mentioned, Bob Hope stick out the most because you remember he was a comedian that used to hold the USO entertainment for the troops during Vietnam and Korea War. Right. Now remember the guy from the Gong Show. He was using the Gong Show, traveling the Gong Show to different places while he do hits for the CIA.
Yeah, see, they got some stuff like that in the file. I just scanned through it. Bob Hope name came up real thick though.
Yeah, Bob Hope. Bob Hope is an anomaly. He's like a meteor in the timeline. He did a lot of shit.
Yeah, what I gathered is that these guys pretty much control Hollywood. Like you had to go through Bob Hope and this other guy. They were like the background manipulator guys. They call them programmers. That's what they call them, programmers. That's what they call Bob. They got Bob Hope listed as a programmer. And they MK Ultra program, and this dude Brian Williams, they were like handlers, and they had trigger words for certain people. Based on what this document was, and they even control all the writers. They even hypnosis all the writers and people that drew all the pictures for Walt Disney, right? Yeah, so all this is connected, and come to find out that right before that they built Disneyland and Disney World, the CIA stopped the construction on it so they can come in and build these underground facilities that over there. And come
Well,
to find out they got
the whole family's been coming up missing in Disneyland for years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm finding out. Like, it's a lot of creepy. It started to get creepy once you go down that railroad.
Okay, so we gotta remember, you got different secret societies that perform different functions. Some secret societies today is actually called 501c3 nonprofits.
That's right.
You got the ADL and the JDL. They work for more Zionist Jews that's darker than me and you, Elder.
Right, blacker than your shirt.
But they use those pale faces to push their agenda as if all of the Jews got pale faces.
Right.
We never look at the ones Noble Drew Ali was bickering with.
Right.
Because we thinking that the Jews that's infiltrating us is the pale face, the Ashkenazi and the Sephardi.
Yeah.
The Khazarians. It's not them. They the cover story. They the cat's paw.
Yeah. The fall guy.
They the fall guy, the co-seivers, the crash dummy. The dummy they put in the car when they're gonna crash it into the wall to see what happened to it.
Damn, that's cold, man.
Right, because remember, this goes back to the other question too about the little Nazi group. The whole thing is they want us to be so mad when we come out of the slumber that we go on a rampage of kill Whitey, but we ain't falling for the shenanigans and the banana in the tailpipe no more. They getting frustrated.
Yeah.
And in their chaotic, contrived events, them people probably did go down there. They probably was allegiance with some Nazi group, but they were sent down there so they could put it in the news.
They got paid.
Right? All of them is paid actors.
Yeah.
And actors don't always mean Hollywood acting. It also mean participant in something.
Right.
Right? And you be wondering, like, if you go back to the George Floyd thing and they say they're going to have a march for the shooting of George Floyd and at 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, I'm watching the news camera. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, a whole marching crew of pale faces come bending the corner. Right? That was so obviously freaking staged that it looked like they was filming the movie and we was watching the backdrop of them film the movie.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, so like, and then if you notice, they pull this Ben Crump thing and all this. And then I was also reading the different type of agents they sent out. And I was like, dang, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton sure could fit as a description that they gave for some of they Manchurian or they mind control agents that they used against us to calm us down. The way they was describing. I'm about to put the tape out about it. Like, I had put the tape out today, but they chopped it up so bad to where it wasn't saying what they were saying no more. So I'm gonna try to do another route. But I had to tape out today where it was breaking down how they sent all these different agents in and use our own people, these to get your hand out of my pocket, people. You know, get your hand out of my pocket.
Them niggas.
Huh?
I said, yeah, them niggas.
Them niggas right there. And them the same niggas that went and told that the shots came out of the bushes when they know it came from the tower, from the fire shot tower, man. Same niggas. Same niggas with no town. They said we moved out the way so they can make the shot. And
you know, out of all of the civil rights activists that got assassinated, the only one that was unequivocally assassinated by a pale face on strictly racist motivations was Medgar Evers.
Okay.
All of the rest of them was either sabotaged by a nigga, set up by a nigga, or murdered by a nigga.
One or the other.
and they telling you the white man the problem. What you missing?
Damn.
Every time one of us figure it out and we get ready to go to Washington and collect our check, one of us murder him or set him up.
Damn. So the person that shot Malcolm, I mean, was it Martin Luther King's son or his wife? Wasn't that a black Jewish guy?
His
And
mama. His mama
his
was
mom,
sitting in the front pew at church. A Hebrew Israelite dude looked like he batshit crazy, walked into church to the front row and shot Martin's mama
oh
in the
yeah,
face.
MK
Straight up Manchurian candidate.
all day long. Like they, I wonder why they think that we can't. Like that's interesting, man. And then after they win
They
the loss,
wanted us, they wanted us to know their involvement in the assassination of the King family members. That's why they sent him in there.
send us a message.
Yeah. That's like when they sent Vito Corleone that bulletproof vest and that fish,
Yeah, yes. It
and
means
everybody standing around talking about what do it mean? What do it mean?
Brasi sleeps with
Luca
the fish.
Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
It's a Sicilian message. Tell you, I like the Italian.
That's what that is. That was the message some niggas telling you. And now we over here, we
Man,
full fledged
crazy.
some tribal name that's no longer in the history books, and we can't pronounce, calling ourselves some Hebrew Israelites.
When we ain't
You
crossed
know
over.
they not us because their cultural background, the description of their culture is in their religious work. In their religious culture, our religious culture over here on these lands don't allow us to eat babies.
Right,
That's not in our spiritual best interest
right.
over here. In their spiritual interest, it's okay for the rabbi to suck the baby dick, long as he call it a circumcision.
That's crazy. That's
That's
crazy.
not part of our culture over here. That's
That's
a foreign invading influence on our culture.
yeah, the Canaanites, the Baal worship.
That's all of those ancient gods was before this religious shit. This Judaism, Christianity, and Islam is the problematic spiritual teachings because it brainwashes you instead of liberates you. It traps you in box after box after box.
That's where
In
we at.
Islam, you can't even go to work without having to stop midway through your first session and do a salat.
That's fact.
Then you got waiting on lunch. You got to stop again, do another salat before you can even go to lunch. That's fucking retarded. That's hostage holding. You holding them hostage.
Yeah, and Jesus said, "Don't do that, though." Jesus, that's the only part about some of the stuff like that. Jesus said that you don't gotta pray but one time. You don't gotta keep telling me. Once you tell me
Look,
one time what you want, get on
one
about
of the, one of the coldest verses in the Bible is it say, "These people draw nigh unto me with their mouth, but their hearts are far from me,
right,
teaching as commandments the doctrines of men."
right,
And I was like,
right.
"Yep."
Islam got
For
its good
many,
points.
for many
Islam,
will come to me in the last days and say, "I cast out devils, healed the sick, and raised the dead, all in your name." And the Lord will say, "Get thee hence. I know you not, you workers of iniquity and false prophets and idol worshippers." Now, why would the person that you calling on doing all this stuff reject you when they get here?
go ahead.
Remember, you say, "These people will come to me in the last days," right?
Yeah, Lord,
And what they gonna say? "I
Lord.
cast out
Yeah,
demons.
yeah,
I raised the dead. I
in your
healed
name.
the sick, all in your name."
Yeah,
What name they use?
exactly. That's the next question.
Then that take us to Proverbs 22. A good name is better, more precious than gold and silver.
They also talk about that in another verse in Romans, where they said that he was given a name that by that name. So it's all them verses connected.
So the easiest way to lead you astray is to change the name.
Facts.
All you got to do is change the name, and you automatically got everybody who believe in the name following the wrong name.
That's a
In the
fact.
name of Jesus, when it's supposed to be ISIS. You gonna get
Nice.
rid of the great mother for a little sissy boy. Playing he got a Bible in his hand, coming out, surfing on the cloud, hanging 10, coming around the bend with the Philharmonic Orchestra on the bigger cloud behind him, coming to rescue you for the rapture, you up to heaven with his father.
I heard that perspective too, because I
That's
heard that.
that's the most ridiculous and absurd shit a person can tell you to insult your intelligence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
If
heard
this
that.
motherfucker comes surfing out the clouds like he a goddamn a hippie surfer with this stringy beard slinging behind him in the wind and a Philharmonic Orchestra following behind him,
Yeah.
I quit.
Yes, it's a lot of that stuff. See that they took a lot of that stuff. Yeah, they took a lot of that stuff from the sun worship and put it into Constantine them and tied it into the real, the real storyline. Not so like a lot of that stuff is a tribute to the sun, like the SUN in the sky. It's not even a tribute to a prophet, person. So it's like so the story is like when you say, oh yeah, well, dude come out the clouds, you talking about the sun, the SUN. You ain't talking about no physical being. You talking about somebody walking on the water, you talking about the sun coming over the water on the Nile when they, it's all the it's a whole bunch
I
of
don't
it's
even look at it. I don't know what them folks talking about. But you got somebody in you got somebody in the chat trying to tell me the Hebrew name of somebody who was named in Greek.
yeah. We talking about Yahshua.
They trying to tell me the Hebrew name of somebody who's named in Greek.
Yeah, Isus is how they said it became Isus, then Jesus, then Jesus once the monks added the J to it. So at first it was I see what you're saying ISIS because it really was Isus. I can see how they could have got ISIS from there. Then you got
But
Esau.
that ain't even proper pronunciation using the characters of the Greek and the rules of grammar.
Could be. But it's I know in
The
Arabic.
literal proper pronunciation using the rules of grammar is it's IES OUS. So the capital I silences the E. The S silences the O, makes the UH sound as the U crashes into the S for to carry it out with the H sound.
ISIS.
It's ISIS all day long. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me, but you can't tell me that I don't know the rules of grammar.
No, I ain't. No, you know me. I
I ain't
don't say
talking about
nobody
you.
wrong.
I'm talking about them religious folks.
Yeah, I don't say
Now,
nobody wrong. I just take in perspectives.
when they realize that they gonna find out that that was a 21 part play written by Josephus Flavius in the time when they didn't have television.
That's right.
They didn't. All they had was coliseums and plays.
That's right.
And the 21 part play was supposed to be a 21 different people looking at the so-called chosen one and telling their story about when she come.
Right.
We come around the mountain when she come.
She comes around the mountain when she comes. You might just shave people's head bald right there. They probably don't even know it after that part. She'll be coming around the mountain when they always get us. Yes, another thing, Roy. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, man, about the jingles, the different jingles. Now they said that that Bob Hope and them and all these other guys, they hired Pacific people that was like Druid. They got to be a certain level trained under the Druids, and they write these jingles, like the Alice in Wonderland.
It's not just what they're looking for is a level of musical mastery.
Okay.
In the most common places that they used to look in the old days was in the secret societies that emphasized the arts in order to develop the feminine nature of women and to the overly masculine males to calm down his testosterone energy. So they would use theater and ballet and song. And so when you hear about a group of these people coming out of the same secret society, it was geared to prepare them to be music writers and singers and instrument players. But then you have something that comes along and they call him a prodigy.
Yep.
And they can exploit him early on because his musical genius is magnetic to the ears of the people, the Pied motherfucking Piper.
Just like and Quincy Jones became the one of the protocol guys for their society, especially about for me, because he wrote a lot of like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
But look, even before that though, Quincy didn't come to fame doing jazz R&B. He came to musical prominence doing movie scores.
Okay, go ahead. I know that.
Doing the movie scores, he was able to access a higher bracket of Hollywood integrity than anybody before him. And you got to remember, Ray Charles was taking the blues into orchestra.
Go ahead. Yep. Yep.
Right. It's the same with Barry White. They was using the orchestra principles as their foundation for developing new and compelling music.
Yeah, classical, mixing classical.
Right. And we already know that Barry White flat out told you he was a self-made god.
Right. Straight up.
Right. And in order for him to reach that level of mastery, you got to put in the practice and the work.
Yeah, that dude can play any instrument. He can write a whole fucking orchestra. Like he's a maestro for real, like the real maestro. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't call him that for no reason.
Right.
You look at the Motown machine and the writers in there, Hayoka High Priest, Smokey Robinson was their prime writer.
Right.
Right. And they drew other people in, but they was all centered around the writings of Smokey Robinson. He a full-fledged Hayoka High Priest. All day long.
Right.
Right. That's why he can tell you he proud to be black, but he ain't no goddamn African because he know who they are.
Right.
Right. And people be like, oh, he just don't like himself because he don't want to be black. Nah, he understand beyond the veil. Right. He tell you how to read the tears of a clown.
Now, okay, let's just say this. Okay, so we got like people like Oprah Winfrey. You know, we know for sure she's a part of some kind of high rank. Or ain't no way to get her.
She's a Delta. She's a Delta from a college fraternity.
Okay.
She's pledged Delta.
Okay, Delta. Okay.
And so, then she did by the boule.
Okay, the boule. Okay, I can see that. And usually I always had a Jew. They always say they got a Jewish handler, but they never mention them. Maybe it might be some dark black haired guy popping them. You know what I'm saying? They got a Jewish handler in the background. Like I always know, like they said that Oprah Winfrey, when you go chase her back, you find out it's a Jewish guy. That's her handler. All these billionaires, every billionaire, it's always some kind of. They'll never show the guy. They just say, "Oh, it's a Jewish guy." That she's close and good.
Okay, then you got to look at why that is. There's more than one reason why that is.
Go ahead.
Historically, the best people in the American legalese system have been classified as Jews.
That's facts. I heard that.
And most of the entertainers' interest is protected by the attorney that they hire to represent their interests and help them manage their estate. He's permanently on payroll.
Right.
So it's a lawyer that got a permanent check coming. He only got to look at your stuff a couple times a year, make sure you ain't fucking up. But he can still practice law somewhere else on somebody else's case.
Right.
So how many people does it take for him to get massively paid? Then they have a network of brotherhood an organization where they sit around and they make sure everybody got a client.
Right.
Right. These people became known as handlers because they handled them people's money.
Right.
And some of the handlers, when you go back to the 50s and 60s, would have total control of the artist's money. And if they decided to walk away, they could take all of their wealth with them, as has been done, without consequence, because the artist was signed to them as a representative.
Like Jerry Heller.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Heller, Easy E them, you know, with the you know how that went down.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
Jerry Heller, that was the Jerry Heller walked into them goddamn uh suits and bow ties.
right. The dark hand. Black hand was working Jerry
No,
Heller.
wasn't no black hand there. That was a straight up in your face FOF motherfucker. You ain't finna come over here and keep doing this bullshit.
Oh, you saying the FOI got with Jerry Heller and set him down?
You don't remember an Easy story when they had to go to that's when Ice Cube left.
Yeah. They went to the White House.
And then Ice Cube sent his one of his homeboys at FOI to go talk to Easy. Easy then was asking the FOI about using them for security. He was using Crips up until then.
Yeah. Yeah. Big Crips too.
And then when Jerry Heller seen them bow ties when he walked in, he like shit on himself. He thought the gig was up. But the gig was up. He just didn't know it.
Yeah, it was up. He got rid of him eventually. We'll just use him as like you know, kind of like
if you pay attention, the only ones that they don't mess with is the fruit.
Right.
They push up on everybody else, gang banging and fucking set tripping. And I ain't talking about us. I'm talking about them big bankers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about them Hollywood execs.
Yeah.
Right. They'll send somebody that look like you down in your neighborhood to pay somebody you grew up with that's got a little bit of jealousy to shoot you in your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a sacrifice.
Man, honestly, I believe now, man, I'm starting to think with all the new images that I got of Diddy supposedly in jail, they don't even look like Diddy, man. They said that all of a sudden one day, and it said like the same storyline they gave us with Epstein. That all of a sudden
the same storyline that is tied together.
Oh, okay. He had a heart attack.
They tied together when they start releasing a lot of information. It's the Diddy files is going to drag out the Epstein files.
Right.
The Epstein files is going to drag out the Podesta files.
Right.
And then it's gig up from there.
Anthony Weiner's laptop. I mean, domino effect, right? Because we forgot about Anthony Weiner's laptop.
This stuff looks like it ain't even got no relation to it, but it's directly connected.
Yeah.
You gotta remember. So why is Puffy filming these freak off parties? He's getting dirt on people. Why was Epstein inviting people to the island to get dirt on people?
Why?
And you think they not trading in smut?
Right.
You think that Puffy never heard of Epstein while he was doing his freak off parties?
Right. Right.
He never met Ghislaine Maxwell. Look, it's like what my man said in The King of New York. If it's a nickel bag sold in the park, I won't eat. Them human traffickers is more territorial than drug dealers.
Yeah.
They need to control as much of the operation as possible. Let somebody from the outside bring too much heat.
Man,
then they all got to get their children from somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
And while they getting these babies, they getting them through child protective service agencies, third world relief project agencies. Right? They buying them directly off the carts on the Evergreen tankers.
Right.
No, they bidding and auctioning them off like meat, disguising them as furniture on Wayfair and Walmart websites.
Yeah. You know, I did analogies on Diddy's, like a psychological analogies. And a lot of stuff I found out that I didn't know that may tie in. Okay, so his dad was a driver for Frank Lucas. His dad name was Melvin Combs, I think that was his name. He was
Yep.
a driver for Frank. Turned out he ended up, I think he ended up snitching on somebody, and
Yep.
they put him out of business. Okay, so Diddy could go connect back with Bumpy and Frank Lucas and all of them, right?
Yep.
So Diddy, to me, it seemed like the Diddy would have that type of that mafia type mentality. Get some dirt on a guy. He come from that type of background. Have some on the guy. And then you can use that as leverage. So I think that a lot of the people in the industry was happy when Diddy went down because he was extorting half of them. He probably was extorting Ursha, everybody that he got videos on. Like, look, if I got a video on you getting hit up the butt, and I say, look, man, you got to come up with 10,000 or some area, month or so, or else this video going out of, Brian Pompa ripping your behind wide open, and you gonna pay that 10 grand if you Meek Mills or somebody like that. If you somebody that's out here, going around, I'm a Crip, I'm riding the 6'4", I'm a Crip blood from the West Coast, but then Diddy got you on tape, and somebody opening up your can. How is they gotta look for your gangster? I'm a thug. This masculine.
There's a whole bunch of download niggas that's gangster.
Go ahead.
Don't let that fool you. Look, some of them gangsters go out and kill 10 people and come back and bend over and want you to put something in them. Don't you believe for a minute because they gangster, they don't mess around. Right. That's why niggas get raped in penitentiary, because you got fags in the penitentiary raping niggas. And they normally pick on the weak. Then you find people like me, you find all these little characters running up to you that you don't know from Iraq and Iraq seeking help to protect them from some predatory, twisted-minded individual gangster.
Right.
Called himself a gangster. He hardcore. He was getting them in the streets. He was flipping 3 birds a week and here chasing boy booty.
In the jail. He's a booty chaser. And then look, that's what I think, man. Based on my analogies, like I said, Diddy, like he come from that type of background where he can extort the extortion, that extortion, that type of energy. So
look, the Diddy situation is bigger than what y'all think.
Go ahead.
Everybody just looking at his depraved events and all that. So far, they haven't really mentioned no real criminal activity with evidence. Listen what I'm saying. They've introduced allegations.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen any evidence to support the allegations. They say they got it on tape. We ain't seen no leaked footage.
Right.
We seen leaked footage of the snowman raping that little girl on Lolita Express and the other one on the beach.
Yeah.
On the island. Those leaked back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? Long before we even heard of Epstein, those leaked.
Right.
So it ain't no secret about what Bill Clinton was doing. He on video. Right? And everybody that was doing the dirt is on video, and everybody that wasn't involved in no dirt, they could be on camera, but they ain't on camera doing no dirt. Somebody had to lay eyes on that bullshit.
Right. So what you said is